What's going on? It's Jamie.
And John.
And welcome to the A-To-Zed Reseller podcast. How's it going this week, John?
Yeah, pretty good, man. It's been a pretty decent week, both personally and with a couple of decent sales. I'm not going to say it was amazing this week, but I don't know. It's lots of sun coming. It's warm here today. We mentioned that a little bit before we started up. It's very hot, but it's also nice to see the sun. We had a few rainy days in a row, and now everything's kind of looking nice, so it helps balance the mood a little.
Yeah, I definitely like the warm weather. It's the humidity that just kills me. We were talking just before, and I feel like anywhere along the East Coast probably feels, the same. I know you're way further up, but I mean, we're still sort of right both on the east side, right? So like humidity is just a killer. Like,
yeah. It's 31 and feels like 39 today, which I don't know what 39 in Fahrenheit is, but I feel like it's somewhere around 108. Which, hey, if you're in Phoenix and you're out for a nice hike out in the mountains north of the city or something, or you're used to that nice dry weather, 90, 100 degrees isn't that bad. I've been there. But yeah, you add in that humidity and it's like, oh man, this sucks.
Yeah,
that's what we're dealing with today, but that's all right. We got the AC cranked and we're doing okay. My basement stays nice and cool. I work down here, so it's funny because even though I'm literally talking about how it's like almost 110 degrees outside, I have a little throw blanket over my lap.
Yeah, it's like that in the basement of our house too, or like the lower level. At nighttime when we're watching TV, I'll throw a blanket on because it gets cooler down there. And where I am filming, this is like the upper part of our house, and the heat definitely rises up here. It gets pretty nasty if you don't keep it somewhat climate controlled. Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about it, just question you a little about yard sale etiquette here. I just feel like more and more and more in my area anyway, I'm seeing a lot more people throw yard sales together on a regular basis where they're obviously resellers, right? And there's nothing wrong with that model. I've actually tried to do that myself, buying like wholesale pallets or buying liquidation of something and trying to do it at a yard sale. It's just so tough because the stuff you do sell is stuff that probably would sell better online, and then you're going to get stuck with that junk that absolutely nobody wants. It just seems to be such a regular thing in my area now, and I know from my experience it wasn't a profitable thing to do. It just made me stuck with more stuff that I didn't want. Do you have a lot of that in your area? Do you see people trying to run like a flea market in the yard instead of like an actual yard sale, or like conventionally what a yard sale should be?
Yeah, I see a lot of people, especially in my old area where I was living, where it was a little bit more populated. You'd see the same people, every weekend, the same tables of stuff. But I do see it in my area too. And, they're trying to get top dollar. They're just trying to run a little outdoor shop basically on the weekends, which is fine. But I mean, it is a little bit concerning when you see it everywhere. And especially when people have like no prices on things. And it's just, you ask them, hey, how much for this? And it's like, oh, that's $50 on eBay. It's like, yeah, I don't care how much it is on eBay. What are you asking for it? And like when I get a little bit rude sometimes. I try not to be, but I don't get rude, but I get annoyed and I react accordingly. If some guy who looks like he's 80 years old is coming up to me and saying, yeah, that's $100 on eBay and I'll give you a deal, you can have it for 80. And then I'm like, all right, well, let's look it up. And I see that there's one listed for $100, but that item hasn't sold for more than $20 in the last 90 days. And then I'm sure to point out that if you actually properly use this technology, which is what you're trying to use to price your item, at least do it correctly. And I always walk away without buying anything. And it's a little bit disheartening. It's a little bit hard not to, lose my temper a little bit when that happens. But yeah, it's unfortunate because I think most of the time, if someone wants to have a yard sale, I know if I wanted to have a yard sale, it's probably because I just got some stuff in my house I just want to get rid of. Let's put it out, get a few dollars for it, liquidate some of this stuff off, get a little beer money for the weekend or whatever. And now I don't have to take that stuff back in my house. Anything that's left, I'll go donate. Like, I thought that's what a yard sale was supposed to be, but who knows?
Yeah, no, me too. And some places I know have bylaws where you're only allowed to have so many a year to deter people from doing that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like I said, I don't think it's the worst thing you can do. It's weird because you know, I recently ran into something like this. Obviously, I don't know if you seen my last video, but it had like some clips in it. And it's just hard to get the point across. Like, this is a small town. You're gonna have so many people come. There's gonna be a smaller amount of people who want this, and then if it's clothing or something, then they have to be the right size. So it's such a small market to get top dollar. Where when you're talking about Poshmark that has a couple million people on it in Canada, or eBay that has over 100 million people worldwide, it's not the same thing, right? So yeah, it is frustrating. I definitely don't get mad about it. And like you said, I think like sort of educating the person a little bit is helpful. But yeah, I typically, you know, it's not worth buying there. Yeah, I was wondering if that sort of thing happens in your area. That particular one in the video that I'm talking about, those people have a mix of stuff that I know is theirs, but then there's also stuff that I know is like from some sort of liquidation place because they constantly have new stuff. But then they'll have like things that I didn't show there. They'll have like old like cameras in a box that maybe is worth $30 to $40 online, and they'll just have it on the table for $30, which is cool. If you like cameras, you probably find that and pick it up. It seems more of a likely thing to pick up something like that than clothing or something else. But yeah.
To be honest, I typically don't even get super excited for like yard sales and stuff anymore. Not like I used to. And I think it's because I'm running into that same kind of thing more and more often, where people are trying to get, you know, squeeze top dollar out of it, which is fine. I mean, everybody has the right to try to charge whatever they can, but when you're doing it in an uneducated way, such as in the example where you're like, oh, it's this much on eBay, not realizing that that's, you know, one listing, that's not necessarily what that person's going to get for it. You know, it's like, I don't think people are trying to be malicious and are trying to like pull one over on people. I think they literally just don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I get a little frustrated, but I try to just tell them like, that's not how that works. I mean, you know, I could put this up, I could slap $300 on this thing, whatever it is. Doesn't mean that that's what it's worth. I mean, you can buy this in the dollar store because I put it on eBay for $300. Is it worth that? Of course not. Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's frustrating. I see it enough that I don't really worry about it too much, but I still like going to yard sales because, not for a reseller, but I mean, I also like kind of picking stuff up and thrifting for myself. So it's still fun to like see if maybe I'll find a video game for my collection, or maybe, you know, find a cool VHS. Like I recently picked up the Street Fighter 2 animated movie on VHS, like from 94 or 95, like the North American version that has like Alice in Chains and Silverchair and Korn and stuff on the soundtrack. And I'm just like, man, this is awesome. This is one of the coolest things I've ever found out in the wild. And I mean, you know, that was a little $2 buy. So those kinds of things excite me for my own personal use. But as far as like using yard sales as a way to source for reselling, it really hasn't been a good strategy for me, or a successful strategy for me overall for the last couple of years. But, you know, you still find those couple of gems like we talked about. The camcorder I got for $5 last week or the week before. You know, obviously those are great scores. I'm going to sell that for like $300, but I can't rely on that to happen.
Yeah, for sure. I think a big part of it for me is I do enjoy it, and it's better for me personally. It's better for content creation. I source much better stuff at the Goodwill bins and popping in and out of thrift stores quickly and just searching areas. But as far as creating content, that it's so much more interesting to people visually to go to a yard sale and whatever. What I think I love so much about the last video that I did do, because I think it had a good amount of content in it, even though I didn't buy a lot of stuff. Like I think it starts off with, you know, somebody basically asking $10 for a Care Bear that's worth $20. I looked it up type thing. Then there's a little bit of conflict, but then at the end you see me buy a whole bunch of watches for the wind up being $2.50 a piece. And at the end of the transaction, the lady says to me, which I definitely wanted to keep that in part of the clip. She says, you feel like you got she said, I feel like I got a good deal, and you feel like you got a good deal. It was a great transaction. She could have cared less what I was doing with them. She didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way a yard sale should be. We're both happy and walk away. You know, like if you're gouging somebody and trying to get stuff cheaper and cheaper, and they feel, you know, you're ripping them off, that's not a good feeling for the other person. But if you both leave happy. Like that's sort of the point of it, right? Like you're getting rid of somebody's stuff that they don't want, that they're probably going to donate it if they don't sell it, get a few bucks out of it, and it's a good transaction for both people.
Yeah, and I think that's a good reason, or a big reason, why I typically don't haggle very much with people. Like if I do see stuff that I like, I mean, it's a little bit different if I'm picking up like 5, 6, 7, 8 items or something like that, and I've got a pile, and it's like, okay, like you got $37 in all this. Would you take 30 even? I mean, that's a little bit different, but like. Because it seems like, for me at least, getting good deals at yard sales is a lot fewer and far between than it used to be. Yep. I'll typically just pay that sticker price if I know I'm going to make some money off of it, and it's a good pickup for me. If they've got something listed for $10 and I'm going to sell it for 80, I'm not going to try to knock them down to 5. Like, give them their $10. Like, I'm going to make $70 on that. I'm going to be more than happy with that. Yeah, like I said, I mean, if I got a pile of stuff, let's work out a little something, a few % off or whatever. But I mean, I want to encourage people who have good yard sales to continue to have good yard sales, right?
For sure. Yeah, I think so. And I don't mind. I'll think about it in a way too, where if somebody's asking like, 10 cents for these books, and I'm going to buy 5 or 6, I'll just give you the $1. I don't need to change it. I mean, that's not me being that generous either, honestly. Right. But, and the same thing.
It's convenience.
It is. Yeah. I don't need the change in my pocket either. Yeah, I'm with you that way. I don't really, if somebody says a price that I don't like, I'm the same way. I'll just either walk away, or if I feel like there could be a deal, I'll do exactly what you see me do in that video. I'll explain, oh, well, I would buy this to sell it. So for me, it doesn't make sense. And then, at that point, I've had plenty of people say, oh, okay, well, like, would you buy it for 20 if it was 30 or 40? Like, they just want to get rid of it. Like,
exactly.
Part. So it's just, I don't know. Like I said, I really enjoy yard sales, and I haven't had that many confrontations ever, honestly. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought that would be kind of fun to talk about for a minute.
I've been on the other side of that. I'll just add, I've been on the other side of that, having a yard sale before. This was quite a few years ago. I was moving out of a place, moving into a new place, and I had to downsize. I was losing probably half my space. So I had a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to get rid of, and I was really trying to clear stuff out. And I'd sold off a good portion of my video game collection at that time, and some other collectibles and things. And I mean, I knew what they were worth, but I knew that I wasn't going to move them quickly if I tried to get top dollar for them. So I put what I thought were really good, fair prices on there. And there was a guy that came by, and he was obviously a reseller. And I mean, this was 15 years ago or so. So this was before it was cool on YouTube. But which I didn't mind trying to make a deal, but man, he was just trying to squeeze me for every cent. And it's like, okay, look, I don't care what you do with this after this, but I need to get something for my items. So I will take these. I'm going to have a storage unit for probably a couple months. I'll put them in my storage unit and not sell them today before I sell them to you at your insulting prices. Like, come on, man. I got this $100 thing. I got $50 on it. If that's not good, that's fine. But if you want to bundle everything together, maybe I'll even do a better deal. But don't offer me $10. Come on.
Yeah. I've been getting an increasing amount of that online as well. I'm used to getting lowball offers where somebody wants a good amount off, but I'm getting more than 50%. I'm getting $6 and $9 offers on $40 or $50 items. And it's and then the crazy thing is, you look at the person's account, and it's a credible person. It's is this person trolling me, or do they just do this all day because eventually somebody might bite? Maybe you've had this item for a long time. You're like, I would get rid of this for $9 right now just because I'm trying to move something out. And maybe it's a great strategy. I don't know, but I'm getting more and more of that. And, I never decline offers. So I'll usually counter at full price or near full price, or whatever platform it is, whatever they let me do is the maximum. That's usually how I handle that. And I don't know. That's seems to be happening more and more and more.
It's on the rise. Did you see my last Instagram post? Someone made a bundle on Poshmark of 11 items, and the actual full price would have been something like $350, right? Okay. Now I've got bundle discount set up as 20% on Poshmark. So, I mean, it would have been, I don't know, 280 or something like that. Obviously, if someone's buying 11 items from me, I'm going to go lower than that, right? Like, I'm going to work out a deal with them. I probably went down to like $200 or something like that. They offered me $50. It's like, are you effing kidding me? You're going to put 11 items in a bundle. So you see what I'm asking. You're going to put $360 worth of stuff in a bundle and then have the nerve to offer me $50. I had to make a post about it. I mean, I did black out their name, so I wasn't, you know, I mean, part of me didn't even want to block out their name, but I did anyway. Don't want to start an online war. But I mean, that's just crazy. But yeah, I've been getting a lot of offers like that too, where it's, you know, typically if someone offers me like 40 or 50% off, I'm cool with like countering somewhere in that 20 to 30% off range. We usually land somewhere around there. And I think that's what most people kind of expect, which is fine for me most of the time. But man, 30% of asking is just like 20% of asking, 10% of asking. Like, it's happening. It's happening more and more and more. And I don't know what these people are thinking. Maybe it's like you say, maybe if you do that enough, you know, it's a numbers game, and eventually someone's going to bite and you're going to get a hell of a deal.
Yeah, sure. Like if you offer me $9 and I'm like, you know what if I go at a half price? Maybe they're really searching for the guy that's willing to do half price or what they think is cool. It could be, we could be missing out on like the most genius thing ever. But I'm just like, every time I see it, it's like, you're always, oh, interested. What's this offer?
Yeah.
You know, and then sometimes so it does work in your favor. Here in a little bit when we do our what solds, I've got an offer that was sent, I countered, and then somebody else scooped it up. So it's interesting how the algorithm works sometimes. Just when you start playing around and sending offers back and forth, I think to the other people who watch it or other people who've looked at it, eBay must like push it up in their search, or maybe sends a notification that says, hey, there's like offers. I don't exactly know what what factors are in play there, but it always seems to make sales happen, right?
I think eBay.com and I don't know this for sure because I don't use it, but I think eBay.com sends out notifications to someone like, hey, there are active offers, or someone else is watching this item, or, you know, an offer has been sent or something like that. Because I think you get a similar notification on Poshmark here in Canada, but I don't think ebay.ca we get anything like that. You know, Canadian eBay is so far behind.
Yeah.
It's on. So if anybody out there knows for sure how that works, let us know down below, because I'd be interested. But definitely, as soon as there's activity on something, I mean, it's getting a boost in the algorithm. It's happened to me so many times where someone sent me an offer, I've sent a counter offer, and then an hour later, someone buys it at full price.
Yep.
And it could be something that's been sitting in my store for 6 months and that I completely forgot about, and then it sells. It's like, how'd that happen?
So it definitely happens on like something you've been watching, and it comes back and it says, you know, don't miss out on this offer, right? Or this offer, or exclusive, whatever. Maybe it's like when somebody puts their like a markdown sale or something. But yeah, I mean, I haven't paid too much attention, but there's definitely something happening there where it's triggering some, you know, extra traction.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know you recently just had a little vacation. Your vacation, mostly you spent some time doing some extra reselling stuff, right? Like sourcing and whatever.
Yeah, I took a week off work because I was expecting to have to spend 3 weeks away at one of my other side hustles, which is like dog sitting and stuff. And I was going to be out of my neighborhood for about 3 weeks, you know, far enough from home and far enough from my normal processes where I wanted to get ahead of that. So it wasn't really a vacation. I spent the whole week sourcing and stuff, and then that all fell through anyway. So I kind of ended up doing it all for nothing, and just, you know, worked really hard for a week, but that's okay. I mean, it was still fine, but I found a bunch of good stuff that day, or that week. I will say this though, I learned something. I thought that, you know, mornings on like a Monday or a Tuesday might be a good time because of low traffic from my local like thrift store chain that I work with, the clothing one. Wow, I was very, very wrong, because obviously they just can't keep up over the weekend when things are busier. And so you go in there on Monday or Tuesday and it's still just wiped out. Like, even though they advertise that they're putting out new clothing like every hour on the hour, and they are, they obviously just can't catch up fast enough. So I did kind of waste a couple of days going around and realizing that, you know, the shelves and the racks were, you know, 3/4 full at best. But oh well, lesson learned. So it wasn't a complete waste.
Yeah, I know that's yeah, because you travel a bit, right? Like it's close, but not that close, right? That thrift
Yeah,
store.
I've got one that's only like 10 minutes away, and then one that's like maybe 25 minutes away. But then any others, I'm either going to to a town that's like, you know, an hour and 15 east of me or an hour and 15 west of me. So it's, you know, so I got like a few stores I can hit if I go one way, and then a few stores I can hit if I go the other way, and then a couple that are pretty close to home.
Which is nice too, because I know you guys can make a day, right? Just go
Yeah,
outsourcing. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's never a waste because, you know, we might be going out to watch a movie. We might be you know, going to a store to shop at a place that like isn't around us at home. And, you know, I live in a pretty rural area, so even if we need like, I assume you guys have like bulk barn up there. And yeah. So like, you know, we need stuff. We need, you know, spices and things that you get from bulk barn. It's like, okay, well, the nearest one is over in that town. So we just do that as part of our thrifting day. You know, we stop in there and get that done. So it's never a complete waste. You know, we can run our errands and do some personal shopping as well. But it is nicer, obviously, when you go out to spend money and you can spend the money because there's actually stuff worth buying. But
Yeah. So my takeaway here is you're saying there's more things at the bulk barn besides snacks, because I just come out with snacks. I don't know.
oh yeah, no, we do a lot of like homemade cooking and baking and stuff like that. In fact, I would say that 90% of everything we eat in this household is like homemade from like, you know, fresh ingredients. Like we
Yeah.
put it together ourselves. So, you know, even things like, you know, your rice and your various, you know, herbs and spices, nutritional yeast. We bake a lot of stuff using wheat gluten, like gluten flour. I know that's not good, obviously, for anybody with celiac, but we have no problem with gluten, so we use a lot of that. Yeah, it's no problem at all for me to walk out with like, you know, 3 or 4 grocery bag size things of little pouches of stuff. I mean, you know, spending 250, $300 at bulk barn is easy.
Yeah. Oh,
But then it lasts, right? It lasts for a long time.
I'm like the guy who's got like a trophy sized bag of like clowning around snack mix and like
Right. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's my bulk barn trips. Although there are
Swedish berries.
yeah, yeah. Hey, they must be healthy. They're berries, right?
That's right. Well, they are. Yeah, it's fruit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a vacation coming up here too, and I don't know what I'm gonna do because it's funny. So I have just hit. We talked recently about I just kind of hit the 1 year full time mark, and I really was like, and we just purchased a business, so we're both sort of like we're gonna take this 1 week off, which is gonna be actually more like 9 to 10 days, like Canada Day into the first week of July, and then any other trips or things that we do for the next year are just sort of like extended weekend trips, like maybe 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
So this is our only really good week plus off this year. Um, and I thought to myself, like, oh, I'll probably source and do all these extra things, but I'm like just becoming so excited about the idea of throwing my store in vacation mode, turning off Poshmark, turning off social media. Man, like you know what? I really didn't notice it until I started thinking about the idea of an actual week off. Like I've got like burnout happening that I wasn't even aware of. Just like it's crazy. It's you can stay as busy as you want in this type of business, right? And I seem to be like I wake up at like 5:30 in the morning, roughly, usually. You know, I'll make coffee, I'll get my listings up, and then I'm right into drafting more items, cleaning items. You know, lots of days I got to run out of the house to do a bunch of stuff, and before you know it, it's 6 o'clock at night, and I, you know, all day I've been, you know, on and off doing all reselling related stuff for the
Yeah.
most part, or editing videos for online or whatever.
Yeah.
It's weird because like my personal time normally is like watching baseball, but even recently watching baseball, I've been like listing pre-game and then doing some other like little business stuff or watching the game. Before you know it, I look up, it's the fifth inning. I'm like, oh, I haven't been paying attention as much as I would have liked.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think honestly, man, if you can, I mean, I don't think the algorithm will kill you after a week or 9 days. So if you can afford to do it, you should take that time, because I know what you mean. And I'm just doing it part-time while running, my full-time job. And like, I'm working from home, everything should be nice and comfortable, but man, it's easy. It is easy just to get into it. And all of a sudden, your Monday to Friday, like for me, I've worked my work day, but I've also done 2-3 hours of reselling stuff. Maybe I've put up a YouTube video on the weekends. Oh crap, I was planning on taking a really relaxed Sunday, not doing anything today other than, maybe putting up 5 listings in the morning. And all of a sudden, like you say, it's 7 p.m. and I've been doing reselling stuff all day. Somehow my house is messier than it was when I woke up. And, I got to go back to work in the morning at my regular job. And it's like, I didn't even do anything this weekend. It's really easy to let it catch up to you and to get that burnout. So I think you should take the time when I'm ready to take another like actual 10-day vacation or 2-week vacation. I'm 100% just putting things on vacation mode, turning everything off. Although I'm not wishing for it, obviously I've got an old cat. She's 19. At some point, she is going to pass away. When that happens and she's no longer here and we don't have to worry about like trying to find somebody for her or whatever, we don't like to leave her alone. I'm going to a campground that's like 6 hours from here where there's not even cell service. And we're going there. We're shutting everything off. I had the best 2 weeks of my life the last time I did that a few years ago. And we need it. We just, we're the kinds of beings. We just need to just turn off the dial, right? Like turn off the machine.
Yeah, I think it's healthy for sure. I'm sure somehow I'll like sneak in some like YouTube content, if anything, just it's less taxing, I guess. It's funny though, like most platforms, I find when you turn them off, they don't really matter. When you turn them back on and pay attention to them properly, they pick up. It's like, it's fine. eBay, in my experience, anytime I've turned vacation mode on, I sell way more than I would have ever expected while on vacation mode. But when you turn that off and you try to do the right thing and you get back into that pattern, it takes a long time for that part of it to kick back in and be regular. So, it is what it is. Yeah, I think taking the time to unplug from everything for, at least a good week, if not better, is probably the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's so your sales, you said, have been okay, but have you had a sale of the week that's really worth talking about?
Yeah, I'll elaborate on the okay part, because really, if I'm looking just at the numbers, it was actually pretty abysmal overall. I mean, I had, I've been averaging somewhere around $1,000 a week, as a part-time reseller. Half of that's profit. That's good. I'm trying to pay off some credit cards, and I've been seeing those kinds of numbers, which I'm very happy with. And then just everything just tanked. And I ended up with like a $500 a week, which I'm not complaining about. It's still, that's still great. Still moved some product and made some money and stuff. But like, the reason why it was a little disappointing is because I was doing everything the same. I was doing all the right things. There was no reason for it to happen. So it's frustrating only because it's like, well, who hit the switch? Like who turned it off? I don't understand it. But then again, we got to realize we're getting into nicer weather. People are out, they're doing things, they're spending money. Kids have proms and graduations and all these things that do play an economic factor. And who knows, man? I don't know. So anyway, all that to say, it was a little bit of a disappointing week, but I did have a couple of good sales. And one of them was another N64 bundle. So we talked quite a while ago now, probably a few weeks, about how I'd won the Love It or List It challenge on Poshmark, and I got the grand prize, the $500 credits you have to spend on Poshmark. So my goal was to buy something that I could then resell on eBay or something, so I could actually take that money. And so this N64 and 6 games was part of that bundle that I bought on Poshmark. So it was no buy cost to me. And I sold it for $180, and it's all profits. So gotta love when that happens.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that was eBay. You said you resold
Yeah,
on?
yeah, it's sold on eBay. So overall, out of that, I think that bundle on Poshmark cost me about $360 of my credits. It didn't actually cost me anything, but cost me $360 of my credits after taxes and shipping. And I think that I've now cleared, by selling that stuff on eBay, a total of about $640. And I do have probably another $200 worth of stuff listed. So
nice.
It was a good decision to go for that and do it that way.
Yeah,
because I mean, the alternative was keep those credits and then every now and then impulse buy something for myself I didn't want or need, right?
Yeah. I just did that. I bought. I had credits from some giveaway thing they had. I think I had $50 or $60. Maybe I had a little more than that because I still have money in there. I spent $50 on Dixon, that company. It's like oh yeah. It's like essentially they're like longer shirts. They're like an extra XL, and that fits a little bigger and it's like long in the torso. But I would never buy one of those shirts because they're like $100 and some new. So I'm like, oh, I want to try one of these. So I bought like it's called Salem. It's like black and orange. So it's very Halloweeny. It's like a fall kind of shirt.
Okay.
But it fits me great. I'm like, oh, awesome. I mean, it's in the closet. It'll be in the closet now till well after summer. But the same thing. I kind of looked on there to purchase something, and then I got down a rabbit hole of these shirts for some reason, and I'm like, oh, I've got credits. This wouldn't cost me anything. So
it's easy for me to do that, and it's too easy for me to do that. I learned my lesson before I had some credits, and I went on there and I was like, okay, well, let's buy myself some things. Here's a chance to get some video games, that are still on my wish list for, either Nintendo Switch or something else. And stupid me, I had forgotten that I'd made an offer on one of those games on eBay the day before.
Yep.
And then I purchased it on Poshmark to use my credits. And then the buyer accepted my offer on eBay. So I ended up with 2 damn copies of it. So it's like, okay, I just got to not spend money on myself on Poshmark unless I go in with a really focused plan.
Yeah. And then you got to be careful too, because I know before that I was trying to buy this Tower of Terror shirt from the 90s. So like a Disney shirt from like the early mid 90s, I think it was. But I kept sending offers out, and I'm like, oh, I got to be careful because if multiple people accept offers, then I've bought both of them on Poshmark, right? And I'm like, you do have an opportunity to cancel within 3 hours, but I'm like, I should not like try to make a whole bunch of offers to stuff that I'm looking for because it could bite me in the butt and I'll have to pay for them.
Yeah.
Which, as we know, if somebody did that to me, I'd be very not impressed, right? Like why are you doing that? So you kind of know better, right? But
it's bad practice for sure. But I mean, I get it. It happens sometimes, but
yeah. So for me, I sold a printer. So the printer I picked up for $11 at Goodwill. It was brand new, open box. Like when I took it home, everything was still wrapped. It had the cables were all tied. The CD ROMs were still like not even broken out of the thing. So brand new open box, $11. So I got it listed a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a month ago now. And really, I had a couple watchers, but nobody offer anything. Somebody sent me a message a couple of days ago that said, hey, is this still available? This is on eBay also. I'm like, yeah, it's still available. So that's just like, yes, it's still available. Like this is beginning to sound like Facebook Marketplace. That's like how you start every conversation there that goes nowhere, right? So then I get $100 offer, and I'm like, it's listed for 2. I'm like, So I countered at 175. The person declined, and then within an hour, somebody bought it for full price for $200. I did go back to check the accounts. It wasn't the same person because I just thought, oh, maybe this person. I don't know. I don't know. I just went back to look because I was kind of curious. Like said, no, I'll just pay the $200 then. But I don't know if it wasn't the case. I did ship it out. It's sitting behind me in a box. I just shipped it out now. I think I charged $40 for shipping, so it was $240 plus tax. And it cost me $37 to ship it.
Yeah.
I have these oversized poly bags. I just put some packing paper in the box so that nothing was moving around. Retaped the box, slid it in this big poly bag, taped it up. I know lots of times, like I just ordered a power brick on Amazon, and they shipped it in the original. This thing is like over $1,000, and they shipped it in the OEM box. You could see what it was. They just threw the was it Pure Later or FedEx, but it was like a ground service like that, right? Because it's a heavy thing. I've got an Xbox like that before too, where they've just slapped the sticker right in the Xbox and left it on my front porch. You know, it's
I
crazy.
hate that about Amazon. I think that is one of the most disgusting things you can possibly do.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and it's not even for just like purists or elitists who like don't want, you know, a sticker on their package. It's also like you're just displaying to everybody that this is what this item is. Like there should be some, you know, there should not privacy. What's the word I'm looking for? Like there should be some
discretion, I guess.
Discretion. Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on. I mean, put it in another little box or put a poly mailer on it if that's all it needs, like something just to like make it look like it's a closed package and not just something that's sitting out on someone's porch to take. Like, come on.
Yeah. I'm sure if somebody stole this printer, they'd be disappointed because I can't even imagine who would want this. It was an Epson photo printer. So like,
oh, wow.
But it was an inkjet one. So it was definitely a little bit older. Like that's not something people generally want anymore, or not a lot of people. Obviously there's still some amount of people who still want that. But yeah, if you stole that off someone's porch, you'd be like, oh, I'm just going to go put this back.
Yeah, this sucks.
People wouldn't want it. Yeah.
I wanted an Xbox. Crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny about that. Like you mentioned about how you like double check to make sure it wasn't the same person who just bought it again. Yeah. That reminded me of something that happened probably about a year ago now. I had these, what was the brand? It might have been Sorel, actually. They were like snow pants or, you know, for like snowmobiling or whatever else. And they were definitely vintage, probably 90s, late 80s or early 90s. And I think I had them up for like $100. And I think someone offered me $50 and I countered at 80 and they declined and then immediately purchased it for the full price. So I messaged them because just, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking this person must have made a mistake. Like that's idiotic to do that. Right. So they obviously didn't mean to do it. So I messaged them. I was like, hey, you know, I'm seeing what happened here. And I'm just wondering, like, did you mean to just accept my $80 offer? Like, I'll refund you the $20. Like, yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but rest assured, I'll give you your $20 back. And they were like, no. I realize it's worth your asking price.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. All right. Right on. He's like, yeah, no, I need more. I got some buddies coming and we're planning a thing and I just want to have some spares. And yeah, no, it's worth it. I'm like, all right. Hey, I'm not going to argue with you. Right. Like I messaged you saying, I think you screwed up. Here's your $20 back. And you're like, no, keep it. Sounds good to me.
There was no issue, right? He didn't like try to start a
No. Got positive feedback as soon as it was delivered. Like all good.
That's awesome. You never really know either, because if you're looking you find an item you like and you go to try to buy it and it doesn't work out for whatever reason, then you start researching. Well, I did like that, but I didn't want to spend John's $100. And you go look and, well, John actually was the most reasonable guy in the market. Maybe I should go back to this. You never really know because, you know, obviously if you're a good or a good enough reseller, when you list something, it's based off of some evidence of what it's worth, right? It's not like we're just making up numbers and throwing stuff online. There are people who do that, and you can clearly see that when you go look something up listed for $300 that's worth $50. So it's not that people don't do that, but if you have any sense, you're going to list your item at a price that'll either sell or maybe slightly higher than market, depending on what it is, where maybe someone will offer you a price.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there's sort of a game to play there with your pricing, but
yeah, but see, we need those crazies to be listing at whatever made up number because those people are who are informing our yard sale folks, right?
That is true.
You know, they're just trying to help the local small economy, right? They're just trying to help out the mom and pop yard sales.
Yeah. the drinking the same Kool-Aid or something for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else has been going on? I know you said you've been pretty psyched about baseball lately.
Yeah, man, it's been fun. Things are really coming together. You know, we've been playing now for 6 or 7 weeks, and again, I mean, we've got a real ragtag team of rookies who most aren't all that skilled, and that's fine. I mean, it's a lot of guys who haven't played ball or haven't played in a long time. I haven't played in a long time, but you know, it's coming together. We're having fun. We're doing lots of batting practice and working on some drills and definitely seeing some improvement. We played the top team in the league this week. And I mean, it's a 10-team league. And when I say the top team, I mean, like, these guys are up here and the rest of the league is down here. And then we're below that. But, you know, these guys can easily go in and just one-handed swing and beat any team in the league. But I think the final score of the first game, because we always play a doubleheader, 2 6-inning games, I think the first game was like 16-12 or 16-13. Like, we made a run at it. We actually strung some hits together, and it was exciting to see. And I mean, yeah, were they trying 100%? I mean, probably not, but still, like, we actually played a good game, and it was pretty fun. And then, yeah, like, I've really been working on my swing and trying to get out of that baseball mentality, because slow pitch softball is very different. So the same swing you would have in baseball does not do the same thing in softball. It's just completely different theories. So working on that, got my average up over, you know, I think I'm up around 540 now, and you know, it's coming along. I'm having a lot of fun with it though. I'm like, you know, I'm seeing these younger guys on the team that don't have the same perspective. And here I am, you know, I turned 41 next month, haven't played in like 15 years. And it's been a very humbling experience to get out on the ball field again and realize how much it hurts every single day when I'm done. But to see the progress and to get back into it and be having fun with it, yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, there's probably somewhat of a need for the social part of it too, because I know, like, I'm certainly not super social and you're not super social. However, like, probably the only place I even go where I talk to other humans in person is, like, I mean, we're virtually talking, but I mean, physically in person is the Goodwill Bins, because most of the people there, even though I'm not really going there to be social, we're all doing the same sort of thing. You kind of joke around, hey, maybe you'd like this, blah, blah. Like, that's one of the only places I really talk to people on a regular basis besides family members, you know, and my wife on a daily basis. So it's kind of just nice to have that, because I know even your full-time job, you're working from home. So you might email people and talk to the conference calls and stuff, but you don't get that actual human, element.
Yeah. Which, I mean, like you say, you know, 90% of the time, that's great. Right? That's what I'm looking for. But you know what, having that one day a week where you just kind of have that little outlet, that little shared outlet, and, you know, under a sporty kind of a thing, like in the winter, you know, a bowl in a league. So having that one night a week where I can just kind of go hang out with the locals and joke around and just do something physically. Yeah, it's good. It's good. That sustains me for the rest of the week. And then I'm ready to not talk to anybody again for another 6 days. But
That's awesome.
All right, everybody. So we are having fun with this new format, just kind of, you know, freestyling it, just winging it. We talked a little bit before this one, you know, is there anything we wanted to talk about? And we're like, no, let's just wing it so that we've got more to talk about while we're doing this and let things go naturally. We're enjoying it. I hope you guys are too. Let us know down below. And yeah, I mean, this has been fun. I think we're already at 12 or 14 weeks. I know Jamie will correct this, I'm sure, but we're enjoying it. We're having fun, and we will see you in the next video, guys.